Now, in this video, we're going to look at a solution to a question relating to la crise du logement, accommodation or the accommodation crisis. So, the question is, l'Irlande est confrontée à une crise du logement. Qui est responsable et comment résoudre le problème? We've got two key questions in the one question. Qui est responsable et comment résoudre ce problème? How do we resolve this problem? We must make sure to answer both aspects of that question. So, as usual, I'm going to make a plan before I start, and I'm going to start with an introduction, and in my développement, I'm going to have a couple of strong points, and then I'm going to have a conclusion at the bottom. In my introduction, I'm going to say there's no doubt about this, pas de doute, and it's a situation which has persisted for years, and nobody is proposing a solution. Now, on the right-hand side, the vocabulary I'm going to use for that, I'm going to say il n'y a pas de doute, un doute, un mot masculin, a doubt. And the situation has persisted for years. That's persister is our verb, and depuis is for several years or since several years ago. So doute and persister and depuis, and nobody, I'm going to use the negative pattern, personne ne, and nobody is proposing a solution. Proposer, a very easy verb to use, proposer. So that's all the vocabulary I'm going to use. I'll color the masculine word blue. Doute and then persister, depuis, personne ne, and proposer. And development now, I'm going to say there are several actors who are responsible for this. There are landlords, there are politicians, there are investors. Now, I'm going to use the word acteur. I put it in inverted commas because normally it would be relating to the cinema or something like that. But I'm going to say il y a plusieurs acteurs involved in this situation. And I'm going to refer to les propriétaires. And I'm going to refer to our politicians. Now, I'm going to refer in two different places to politicians. So I'm going to refer to nos élus, élu coming from the verb élire, to elect. So our elected representatives, in other words, our politicians, nos élus, nos élus. And I'm also going to refer to the gouvernement, kind of not to repeat it, okay? I'm going to refer to nos élus and the gouvernement. And I'm going to refer to investors who are investisseurs. Investisseurs, and they have a big stranglehold on property. So investisseur, and I'm going to refer to rents, which are loyer, and loyer is a rent, and then loyer élevé, and I'll use that in the plural, high rents, loyer élevé, a very important word in this context. Now, the people who rent apartments are known as les locataires, and locataire is a person who rents, a tenant. So we've got plusieurs acteurs, we've got les propriétaires, we've got nos élus, le gouvernement, les investisseurs, et il y a des loyers très élevés, and then we've got les locataires, and they find it very hard to make ends meet. Now, to make ends meet is to get to the end of the month, or to round off the end of the month is often used, the expression used in French. So I'm going to use the expression arrondir leur fin de mois. So to round off the end of the month, to get to the end of the month financially is arrondir leur fin de mois. And there's a serious shortage. I'm going to use the word a penury or penury as a shortage. So that's the key vocabulary I'm going to use in this context. I'll color the masculine words blue, acteur, élu, gouvernement, propriétaire, loyer, investisseur, locataire, and they're all masculine words. And then we've got a penury, which is a feminine word, which is a shortage. Or we could have un manque, and leur fin de mois, also a feminine word there. And in the conclusion now, I'm going to say, well, what is the solution? Quelle est la solution à ce problème? I'm going to say we must build more houses. The verb to build is construire. Construire, to construct or to build is construire. And I'm going to say social housing, logement in the plural, sociaux. logements sociaux, and I'm going to say to limit rents. Now, at a push, we could use the verb limiter, but to frame rents, to put them in a frame, they can't go outside this frame. And the expression here I'm going to use is encadrer, which is a verb that is used in this context, to encadrer les loyers, and to stop investors, to make it, to outlaw, to prohibit it. So I'm going to use the word prohibited, which is interdit, interdit, to be prohibited, and buying multiple apartments, buying many of them in one go, en une seule fois, in one go. So I'm going to say that that really is a problem, and I'm going to refer to the whole thing as an honte. So this is quite a difficult question, and of course economists have not solved the problem for years, and they're discussing it all in English. And in our situation, so we've got to come up with, so we do need a bit of techie vocabulary here, which I put on the right hand column. Logement masculin and honte féminin, there like that. Now I'm going to come down to the bottom. I'm going to split my screen in half. I'm going to leave my introduction at the top, and I'm going to start writing. So, sans aucun doute, without any doubt, we're confronted by a housing crisis. Sans aucun doute, nous sommes confrontés à une crise du logement. I'm going to recycle some vocabulary from the question. Sans aucun doute, without any doubt, nous sommes confrontés à une crise du logement. And this situation has persisted for years. Cette situation persiste depuis. Now, has been going on. In English it's a bit complicated, but in French it's just the present tense with depuis. Cette situation persiste depuis des années. Personne ne semble capable de proposer une solution. Ne semble seems not to be, seems capable. So personne ne, nobody seems capable of proposing a solution. Personne ne semble capable de proposer une solution. Now that's my first paragraph. My introduction is now dealt with in those 3 lines. I'm going to move on to my développement, and I'm going to say that several actors are responsible for this. Now, plusieurs acteurs, I'm maintaining it in inverted commas, sont responsables responsible for this crisis. Plusieurs acteurs sont responsables de cette crise. D'un côté, on the one hand, d'un côté, il y a les propriétaires. Il y a les propriétaires qui imposent des loyers de plus en plus élevés, who impose higher and higher rents. D'un côté, il y a les propriétaires qui imposent des loyers de plus en plus élevés. And I'm going to say, consequently, tenants can't afford, can barely get to the end of the month. Consequently, par conséquent, les locataires trouvent presque impossible, almost impossible, to arrondir leur fin de mois, arrondir, to round off financially, leur fin de mois, their end of the month. Par conséquent, les locataires trouvent presque impossible d'arrondir leur fin de mois. Now, I could have left that sentence out. I could just say the landlords charge very high rents, but I'm going to put in that sentence. Par conséquent, les locataires trouvent presque impossible d'arrondir leur fin de mois. And I'm going to say some are even threatened with expulsion. Certains sont menacés with an S au pluriel. Certain ones of the tenants, some of the tenants, sont menacés d'expulsion. Expulsion is the general term for expulsion, but in the context of property, it's eviction. Certains sont menacés d'expulsion. I'm going to say it's also the fault of our elected representatives, also the fault of our politicians. C'est aussi la faute de fault. C'est aussi la faute de nos élus. And I'm going to say up to now the government has never regulated rent. Jusqu'à présent, until now, jusqu'à présent, Jusqu'à présent, le gouvernement n'a jamais réglementé les loyers, has never regulated rents. Now, the verb réglementer is to regulate. Jusqu'à présent, le gouvernement n'a jamais réglementé les loyers, has never regulated rent. And to make things worse, investors have come into the scene. To make things worse, pour aggraver, to aggravate things, pour aggraver les choses, de nombreux grands investisseurs internationaux, big international investors have seized. Now there's a verb to seize which is s'emparer de. We didn't write it in the right-hand column above, but it's a key word here. S'emparer de. And we need to put in the passé composé. They have taken control of, they have seized many apartments. Et ils se sont emparés de milliers de, thousands of, milliers de logements ces dernières années. So, pour aggraver les choses, de nombreux grands investisseurs internationaux se sont emparés de milliers de logements ces dernières années. And consequently, there's a serious shortage of accommodation. Thus, therefore, ainsi, il y a une grave pénurie d'appartements et de maisons. Il y a une grave pénurie d'appartements et de maisons. So that's the first part of my development, and it's a bit difficult because we've got some technical language. The language itself is not so difficult, but the vocabulary, the individual words, we have to remember those words, and then we can assemble the sentences. So that's my development, and now what is the solution? Toutefois, quelle est la solution à la crise? In my opinion, we should build more houses. À mon avis, il faut construire beaucoup plus de logements sociaux. À mon avis, il faut construire beaucoup plus de logements sociaux. And the government must also frame rents. Le gouvernement doit aussi encadrer les loyers. Le gouvernement doit aussi encadrer les loyers. And finally, it should be forbidden, it should be outlawed, it should be not possible for investors to buy multiple houses. Enfin, finally, il devrait être interdit aux investisseurs d'acheter de nombreux logements en une seule fois, in one go, in one time, en une seule fois. And I'm going to say, finally, it's really scandalous that over time a house has become a financial product. Il est vraiment scandaleux que, avec le temps, over time, avec le temps, il est vraiment scandaleux qu'avec le temps, une maison, house, soit devenu un produit financier. It has become a financial product. What a disgrace. And that is our answer. So a bit of technical language in here. There's no way we can really answer this question without looking at some technical language. So let's read again from the top pour renforcer le vocabulaire. Sans aucun doute, nous sommes confrontés à une crise du logement. Cette situation persiste depuis des années. Personne ne semble capable de proposer une solution. Plusieurs acteurs sont responsables de cette crise. D'un côté, il y a les propriétaires qui imposent des loyers de plus en plus élevés. Par conséquent, les locataires trouvent presque impossible d'arrondir leur fin de mois. Certains sont menacés d'expulsion. C'est aussi la faute de nos élus. Jusqu'à présent, le gouvernement n'a jamais réglementé les loyers. Pour aggraver les choses, de nombreux grands investisseurs internationaux se sont emparés de milliers de logements ces dernières années. Ainsi, il y a une grave pénurie d'appartements et de maisons. Toutefois, quelle est la solution à la crise? À mon avis, il faut construire beaucoup plus de logements sociaux. Le gouvernement doit aussi encadrer les loyers. Enfin, il devrait être interdit aux investisseurs d'acheter de nombreux logements en une seule fois. Enfin, il devrait être interdit aux investisseurs d'acheter de nombreux logements en une seule fois. Il est vraiment scandaleux qu'avec le temps, une maison soit devenue un produit financier. Quelle honte! So go back, pause the video, scrub through the video, look at the key vocabulary, particularly in the right-hand column when we were making out our plan at the start of this video. And that's it, until next time.